Hello and welcome back to Chinese Zero to Hero. In this video, let's take a look at the difference between the in and ng sounds. So the difference between an and ang, 担心, 当心, 担心, 当心. Right, so what's the difference? Well, first of all, we need to recognize that the difference is not only in the final n and ng, but it's also in the vowels. So the are different in each case, right? Let's take a look. So first, we need to familiarize ourselves with the International Phonetic Association vowel chart, or IPA vowel chart. If you don't understand this chart, you can watch my previous video, which I will link to the top right corner of the video. So I'll give you a little banner. So you click on the banner to review the video on IPA. All right. So the in dan is found here on the IPA chart. So this is the same as in, say, 爸爸, right? 爸爸, 爸爸, like father. So this is the found most of the places in Mandarin, right? It's also the found in most European languages like Spanish, Italian. Like for example, in Spanish, you say papa, right? So this is the same in papa, or like in French, papa, or in German, Katze, right? So this is the same in these languages. All right, so this is the more common whereas this right here, this in dang, that is the in bath, pronounced the British way, right? Bath. So this is the in bath, pronounced the British way, the UK, or Americans will pronounce this word as hot, right? So this in hot, that is this vowel right here, right? The difference is versus right? Can you notice the difference? Right, your tongue is slightly more retracted when you're pronouncing like this. Right? So it's ong, the vowels are actually different, right? Actually, this is not the entire truth because the Mandarin n sound is slightly more fronted than the central a. So this a right here is actually slightly more fronted, which is denoted with this how do you say it, like rotated T symbol, right? So we write it like this. This is a central a, and we denote that it's slightly more fronted with the inverted T at the bottom right here. So this is not simply but a slightly more fronted version of a. So it's as in baba is whereas this in an is slightly more fronted. So we say an, right? It's not it's an, right? So this vowel is slightly more fronted, which produces even more contrast with ang, right? So can you hear the difference? An, ang, right? So it's not only in the final, it's not only in the final consonant n versus the it's also in the vowels. Dan, dong, dan, dong, dan, dong. Can you see the difference? All right, let's do some practice. 担心, 当心, 担心, 当心, an, ang, dan, dang, 担心, 当心, 担心, 当心. An, ang, 船, 床, 传单, 床单. An, ang,简, 讲, 简, 讲, 简化, 讲话, 简化, 讲话. An, ang, 教练, 较量, 较练, 较量. Right, so that's the difference between an and ang. Now moving on to the difference between n and eng. Similarly, the difference isn't only at the finals, but also in the vowel nucleus. Let's compare. So, as in n is found right here. It's the schwa sound. Right? This is the you can say in about, for example. Right? About, when you say about, the first sound is the schwa sound. N, chen, 成就, 成就. Whereas for the eng sound, the nucleus of the sound is This is found in other places in Mandarin, like 我饿了, I'm hungry, right? 饿 means hungry in Mandarin. So this is this vowel right here, which is also the in eng, right? So in eng, the central nucleus vowel is the same as in hungry, whereas the in chen is the schwa sound as in about, right? As in about. Again, this is as in about, and this is in Mandarin as 饿了. Okay, so the difference is n, eng, eng, chen, cheng, chen, cheng, 成就, 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 The difference again is the second one is slightly toward the back, right? Sorry, I should produce different tones. Right? So this one is slightly further back toward the vellum. Right, let's do some practice. 成, 成, 成就, 成就. N, eng, 申, 生, 声明, 声明. N, eng, 嗯, 讽刺, 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 讽刺. N, eng, 正, 正, 正式, 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 正式. Again, 成就, 成就, 声明, 声明, 讽刺, 讽刺, 正式, 正式. And finally, we arrive at the difference between yin and ying. Here, the difference is only in the final, right? So the two vowels are the same. They're both E versus E. The difference is only in the final, so that's why this one is particularly difficult to distinguish, because the vowel nuclei are the same. All right, so let's do some practice. 人民, 人名, 人民, 人名. Right, so the difference is only in the final, where it's like the similarity between sin and sing in English, right? In sin, you pronounce the N as a alveolar nasal, like your tongue is right here. Whereas for sing, your tongue is retracted and you're producing a nasal sound. You're lowering your velum, yeah, and the air is going through your nose. So that's the difference between sin and sing, which is exactly the difference between yin and ying, yin and ying. Yin, ying, min, ming, 人民, 人名, 人民, 人名. Right? The difference is exactly like the difference between in and ng in English. All right, next, 红心, 红星, 红心, 红星, 阴, ying, 心,星, 红心, 红星, 红心, 红星. 引, 影, 寝, 请, 寝室, 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 寝室. This is very easy to mix up. Next, 印, 应, 禁, 静, 禁止, 静止, 禁止, 禁止. If this N right here is followed by a K, for example, in For example, 近况 right? 近况 For example, this word 近况 which means recent situation 近况 When you pronounce 近况 this K will somehow affect the N and make the N sound a little bit like the NG. So this, let me just write that a little bit bigger. 近况 right here. This N right here will take on the quality of NG. So 近况 and 近况 would sound almost the same. 近况, 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 近况. Especially in fast speech, in colloquial speech, because this K will affect the N and make the N sound like an NG. And this is like a reverse assimilation. 近况, 近况. 近况 means recent situation. This is recent situation. This is just situation. Right? 近is the word for closeness. Right? 近况. 近 is the word for situation. Right? 近况. So these are synonyms, and also they're phonologically similar. If you see other words that has an N and a K following each other, then just know that this N sometimes takes on an NG quality. But this is a finer point, right? The important thing is to remember that for yin and ying, the difference is only in the final, and they're very, very similar sounding. All right. So that is the difference between the N and NG sounds. Just remember that for the N, for N and Ng, the difference is in the vowel A and A, and the difference between N and Ng is also in the vowel and and the difference between In and Ying is only in the final, and the vowel nucleus is the same. Right, so that concludes this lesson. If you have any questions, just leave a comment below, and I recommend you to sign up with our free Chinese pronunciation course called Phonetics with Chinese Characteristics. So you can click on the square button to the left and sign up for the free course. I'll see you there. Okay, bye.